Good afternoon, guys. Making choices is the most powerful thing we've been gifted to be able to do. And it all originates with our thoughts, our mindset, what is taking place in our mind in terms of what thought energies we're allowing into our mind, and then what we do with those energies. So think about it very carefully. What is it that you are thinking and then saying? Because what you say is really a symbol of what you're thinking. So once we understand that power, and once we understand how every decision or every thought impacts everything around us, once we take responsibility of that, we become really empowered to make those decisions that are going to improve our life. So remember that your choice, making a choice in itself and being decisive, will put you on that path to becoming your true great self. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Talk to people about taking care of themselves like there's someone who they have responsibility for, and that's not a political issue too. It's an injunction to assuming that you have a certain intrinsic value, and that it's necessary for that value to manifest itself, for you to push yourself against the world, to challenge yourself, because otherwise what you're capable of won't manifest itself. It has to be developed. It has to be called forth by necessity, right? You have to pick a hard problem and try to solve it and push yourself against it and you have to try to do that truthfully and responsibly in order for what it is that you're intrinsically capable of and composed of to come to the forefront. And that seems like a very positive thing as far as I'm concerned, to encourage people to be responsible for themselves and for other people, and also to point out that you have a moral responsibility to do so for yourself just as you do for others. And I think that message has been very helpful to people. At least that's what they've told me. And it's predicated, the rule is predicated on the old Judeo-Christian idea, the oldest idea in some sense, that that there's a relationship between logos, which is truthful speech and communication, and bringing things into being from chaotic potential. That's the idea that's put forward in Genesis. And also the idea that men and women alike are made in the image of God, which suggests that, like God, we have the capability of affecting potential, affecting the possible future and turning it into the actual present, and that we do that, at least in part, as a consequence of our ethical choices.
Treat yourself like you matter. Talk to yourself like you would your best friends. Think about how you talk to other people. Think about, if you're watching this video, if you're a fan of this channel, you are probably pouring into so many people. You're giving them love, you're giving them encouragement, you're giving them belief, you're telling them they can do anything, right? Your friends, even strangers on social media, you're probably telling them that they can do things, right? You're believing in them, you're giving them confidence. But then what happens? You go home, you look in the mirror, and you're just telling yourself all the reasons why you can't do something. That voice inside your own head sucks, right? Telling yourself that you can't make it, that someone like you is never gonna do it. We don't treat ourselves with the same level of compassion, empathy that we have for other people. You wouldn't talk to your worst enemy the way that you talk to yourself. And that's a big problem. I think that needs to shift, that needs to change. Because as long as you keep talking to yourself like you're a piece of garbage, then you're never going to accomplish anything great. We have to start to shift it. I had a whole bunch of issues in how I talk to myself. I used to say, well, I'm too shy, I'm too introvert, nobody's going to want to hear my story, my message doesn't matter, who am I to go off and do this? I have to have a huge ego. Even I'm sitting here filming in a parking lot. Like I would never do this. Only people with giant egos and loud mouths would ever do that. Right? I'm still working to unwind all of that. But the more you can catch it, And the more you can shift it, it allows you to go off and do great things, not just for yourself, but for other people. Because if you fast forward, if the way you've been talking to yourself for the past couple of years continues to be the way that you talk to yourself for the rest of your life, nothing changes. So how do we shift? How do we get to a point where, hey, we're actually saying better things about ourselves? Number one is you have to catch the voice. You know, what is the negative voice? What are you saying to yourself? Because a lot of it are just, it's not intentional. You know, it's these automatic thoughts. It's the subconscious thoughts. You come up with an idea of what you can do and immediately you shut yourself down without even noticing it. Just, it's a default nature. Instantly, boom, no, I can't do that. No, you suck, you can't do that. So what are the negative thoughts that are coming up in your mind? And just trying to catch it. Number two is whatever you want to have more of, you need to create that in your life. You need to create the habits and routines to have more of it in your life. So for me, I want more belief, right? And I go through this whole process of how to figure out your most important core value or your one word. You can pick up your one word or Built to Serve. It'll walk you through it. What do you need more of in your life? I need more belief. And as much as I'm trying to spread that to the world with the videos and everything I make, I also need more of it myself. I need more belief for myself. And so what helps me believe in myself? Well, I try to design a life and an environment to help bring that out more. So everything from the outfit that I wear, you know, I tell myself I'm a superhero going to work. This is my believe uniform, just like Batman puts on his costume. From what my office looks like and the pictures on my wall, I've got my parents on my wall, and looking at them reminds me of the message that my mom would always give me, that I'm Abacus Shirley Carmichael, I can do anything and believe that I can. The videos that I make, the main channel, the top 10 channel, this channel, all the content that I make is designed to help me believe in myself more. That's what helps me come alive. Service, you know, thinking about how what I'm going to do will have an impact on somebody else besides me, helps me have the courage to go off and chase down the goals that I have for myself. So what is it that makes you come alive? What do you need more of it in your life? Because you're probably not getting enough of it, right? The thing that you need more in your life, you're not getting enough of it right now. That's why that negative voice is so powerful and default. So think about the people who you're hanging around and the media you're consuming, all of it. You're not getting enough of the thing that you need. So how do you get more of that thing and engineer it, design it so that it's part of your daily calendar, that it's not randomly happening in your life, but it's with intent, must happen every day. So number one is catching that voice. What is that voice? Number two is designing that environment and the habits and the routines for yourself so that you're around it constantly. You're changing our environment to be around the thing that you know that you want to be. And then number three is empower people to pull you out of the matrix. You know, empower people to call you out. Empower people to give you feedback. Some of my favorite ways to do it, whenever I'm going to an event or whenever I'm talking to somebody I respect and I need some help, input, guidance, feedback, I'll say, tell me why I suck. Tell me why I suck at this thing. Why do I suck at this? Like, how do I get better? And when I do that, it's because they give me their honest feedback. You know, when you just ask for feedback, people will be afraid of hurting your feelings and you won't get the full info. So I say, tell me why I suck. And they say, well, you don't suck, but here's what you need to fix. I empower the people around me that if I say scary, difficult, or hard, then I have to go off and do the thing just because I said scary, difficult, or hard. I don't want to be the person who plays small. So my son in particular loves this one, right? It's like, Dad, you did it. You said scary. Ah, shoot, okay. Now I have to go off and do it. What are your trigger words? What are the things that make you stay small? And then empower the people around you to call you out on it. So that when you don't catch it, because you won't catch it most of the time, you won't catch it. But when you can't catch it and somebody else can, not being defensive and not putting our guard up and realizing that, hey, this behavior is keeping me stuck. Empowering the people around you to give you the feedback, to pull you out of the matrix so you can start turning what's subconscious to conscious. If you feel like you're a little bit stuck, if you feel like you know you want to do more and you're capable of more and you want to serve more and help more, and you know that you've got this voice inside you that's keeping you there, and you're struggling with how do I get it from subconscious and automatic negative to subconscious and automatic positive, everything starts to change. You have to treat yourself like you matter. Just imagine that you were actually your own best friend. Just imagine that you came to you with the problems that you're facing. What would you tell yourself? It's probably going to be something loving, something encouraging, something powerful, something positive, not the words that you're actually using to talk to yourself. This doesn't change in a day, it doesn't change in an instant. It's a process. But if every day, day by day, you can slowly start to believe in yourself more, empower yourself more, talk to yourself in a better way, you're going to create a much better life for yourself, and then you can pay it forward and help others. Because no matter what words you say, no matter how much you tell people to be positive, again, you're here watching this, you are the most positive person in your family, you're pouring into other people. No matter how much words you use, what they'll be inspired by most is your action. No matter how much you say, hey, love yourself, make this happen, I believe in you. If they see you not believing in yourself, not taking the action you need to take, they'll never be inspired to do it themselves either. They'll be most inspired by the actions that you take when you're afraid and you doubt yourself too. It's time to make a change. Let's make that change today.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Algún día pasará.
Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Deep, long breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feel that power of you controlling your breathing. That power that's available to you all the time, wherever you are in life. That power to reconnect to your greatest gift right now. Your presence, your being. Your infinitely intelligent being. The same stuff we're all made of. And with that stuff that we're made of, we can control the most powerful supercomputer in the universe. Your mind. But only you can do it. Only you can control your own mind. So let's do that right now, and let's see the future. Today, our time together, let's see ourselves doing the best we can on every single exercise and stretch. For this is not only the gym that we have available to us right now, in this space wherever we are, but it is also the gym of life, where we grow our minds all the time. Good morning, determination. How is everyone doing today? Another great day, wherever we are. Today for myself, I'm indoors. Maybe you yourself are indoors as well too, wherever you are. Let's go. Let's make this the best gym period we've ever had. It may not be exactly where we want to be. We may not be in school or at work where we really want to be, but wherever we are right now, let's do this to the best of our ability. Here we go, determination, here we go. When I say go, we're going to start jogging on the spot for 1 minute. Ready, and go. And as always, we're thinking about our breathing, focused on our breathing. Feeling that power of us always being able to control our breath. Even when our heart starts beating faster, whether it's through exercise, whether it's through something stressful, something maybe we might be afraid of or we don't like, we get to control our breathing. The same way we get to control our thoughts. And our thoughts affect our feelings. So if we can control our thoughts, we can control our feelings. Almost there, everyone, almost there. Keep going. Keep going, determination, keep going. And stop. All right. You can walk on the spot, or you can walk side to side as you recover your breathing. Always feeling that power of you controlling your breathing. This is the best. What we have right now, wherever you are, you've got your mind and your body in the gym of life. And you get to be your best right now on whatever stretches, exercises we're about to do together. Here we go. Here we go, determination. That's why I love gym. Gym is the best. Roll your mind in the gym of life. Here we go. Let's do 10 shoulder rolls forward. Ready, everyone? Here we go. The best 10 shoulder rolls forward ever. Still controlling our breathing. Shoulders all the way up and around as high as we can towards our ears. And backwards. Again, feel the power of you controlling your body right now. In these simple movements, simple motions, you get to control your body. The way you control your mind, same way. Alright, and let's do arm circles forward, everyone. Arm circles forward, 10 big ones forward. Feeling the joy of our arms moving through space. Alright, and backwards. Excellent. All right, everyone, let's put our hands on our hips, bend the knees, and side stretch. There we go. 5 on each side. All right, and let's twist our bodies. Here we go. Feet flat on the floor. 5 on each side. Really thinking about what we're doing. Really trying to feel every part of our body as it's moving in space. Alright, good. Okay, let's do 5 push-ups together. Here we go. 5 push-ups. Best 5 push-ups. Again, if you got to keep your knees on the ground, that's okay. Just do your best, always. And 5 sit-ups. Excellent. And staying up. 5 squats. Here we go. Body straight ahead, looking straight ahead. All the way down. All the way up. Alright. Let's do 3 lunges on each side. Here we go. Arms out. Still controlling our breathing. All right, and let's do a 10-second plank. Belly's knees off the ground. Again, feeling the joy of you pushing your body a little bit outside its comfort zone. Because you know that's where the growth is. All right, everyone, and standing up. Reach for the ceiling on your toes. Or the sky if you're outdoors. Today I happen to be indoors. If you're outdoors, reach for that sky. If you're indoors, reaching for that ceiling. We may not touch it yet, or ever, but we're going to reach, we're going to strive. Just like we do in life, no matter what. Okay, now reach for your toes. Again, it's okay if you don't touch your toes, but keep your knees straight. Reaching for your toes, feeling the pull in the back of your leg, not the pain, just a little bit of a pull. All right, come on up, and let's balance. Grab one leg, find that balance, bend the other knee. Well done, everyone. Keep going. Keep thinking about what you're doing right now. And switch. Again, feel the pull on the front of the thigh, then the other leg, find that balance. If you lose it, just try to work hard to get it back and then hold it there. Excellent. All right, now let's hug our knee. Here we go, all the way up. And try to steady that other foot on the ground. Bend the knee if you have to, and pull all the way up, hold it for 10. Always working hard to find that balance. Where we balance our thoughts, our mind, balance our bodies, wherever we are in space. All right, and switch. Just always think of safety too. Make sure you have enough space, clearance around you, in case you do lose your balance. Hold it there. Well done. Okay, good. And let's sit down, everybody. And reaching for our toes, straight knees again. Reaching is what matters. If you don't get to your toes, that's okay as long as you're reaching. Feeling the pull on the back of your legs. Not the pain, just a little bit of a pull. Okay, V shape with your legs. Now reach for the floor as far away from your body as you can. Hold it there for 10 seconds. Okay, now reach for one side and hold it there again. Always thinking about the moment, thinking about what we're doing right now. Experiencing the joy of being able to reach for something to help our bodies get better. And switch the other side. See, you can do this almost anytime, any place. You can work on your mind and your body wherever you go in life, in everything you do, not just in exercise and stretches. All right, here we go. And let's do feet together. Gently push your knees down with your elbows and hold it there for 10 seconds. If you feel your breathing going on autopilot or becoming automatic again, take control of that. Deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. One leg forward, one leg back. Keep the knee on the ground. Go as far back as you can. Hold it there. 10 seconds. And switch to the other side. Knee on the ground. Go as far back as you can. Always remembering that you are the boss of your mind, and your mind is the boss of your body. That makes you the big boss. You get to control yourself. You get to use your determination no matter what. All right. And let's roll onto our bellies and push the floor. Looking up at the ceiling. Cobra stretch. Here we go. Hold it for 10 seconds. feeling that nice stretch in our lower back, neck, back of our arms. All right, and legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed. Taking deep, long breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now, activating that third eye, that mind's eye that we all have. We can't see it, but we know it's there. So use your mind's eye right now to see yourself doing the best you can today when that music goes on whatever 2 exercises, stretches you've chosen to do. For me, today I'm going to be holding the push-up position for one song, the first song, and then I'm going to be holding the squat position for the second song, as long as I can. And if I happen to let go or not be able to hold it, I'm going to continue on until that song's over. What about you? You can put on your own 2 songs today, and you can do your own exercises. But think about which exercises you're going to do right now, safely within the space you have. You can do what I'm doing, you can listen to what I'm listening to, or you can choose your own. But whatever you do, determine right now, see in your mind what you will do when that music goes on. All right, determination, here I go, holding the push-up position, and let's go, whatever you're doing, whatever you've decided, let's see it, let's see your best, here we go together, let's go, determination, let's go. Looking forward to being better than we were last time, a little bit more than last time. See if I can hold it for the whole song, let's see. Wasn't able to do it last time we did this together. It was the last time I did it on my own, but I'm going to work at it right now. Because I love the process of trying to get better at something. Whether it's building strength in my body, building strength in my mind, working on creating nothing but positive images, thoughts, visions in my mind, working on being the best human being I can be. What about you? What is it for you? Whatever it is, just enjoy the process of learning, growing together, whatever we're doing. And sometimes we're going to feel that discomfort. Like right now, I can already feel my muscles already uncomfortable. But then I can feel my determination saying, I get to determine whether I'm going to stop or keep going, no matter what. You too, let's go, determination, let's go. Alright. Didn't get through the whole song, but I'm going to get right back at it again. Song's not over, we got to keep going. There we go, shaking it up. Not being mad that we didn't get to where we want to be yet, but feeling happy that we get to go at it again. Here we go. Always thinking about our breathing. Always thinking about finishing strong, no matter what. Always going right to the end, finishing what we set out to do, no matter what. More in me. I know I got a little bit more. We gotta keep going. You too, whatever you're doing, keep going. Determination, keep going. Let's go. It's not over yet. The song's still playing. Focus on that breathing. Good air in. that air out. There we go, another round. Oh, I love it. I love the process of building our true great self through exercising our bodies and our minds together. Oh, that's the next song, all right. Time for some squats, holding the squat position. What about you? What are you gonna do next? Let's go, determination, here we go, ready? All right. If you're doing what I'm doing, just try to keep your feet flat on the floor, looking straight ahead, going as far down as you can, your bottom towards the ground, and holding it there. As long as you can, until that music's done. Because our music, you know the truth, our music's never done. Our energy, our determination is built to last, to get through anything. Let's go, determination, let's go. If you're sweating, that's good. Feel your body releasing some of that fluid, some of that old fluid, water. Make sure you drink lots of water when we're done. Make sure you always fill your body with good food. All right. And here we are again. Back to where it all begins. Where it all begins and never ends. That source, that oneness, that consciousness, that awareness. That we know is in all of us. That power to determine, to control our minds. You see, nobody else, nothing else in this universe can do what you do every day. In the gym of life. Only you, human being, only you, infinitely intelligent being, can do the ultimate. Only you can control your mind, your thoughts, and therefore your feelings. But it takes a lot of hard work. It takes, first of all, believing that you can do it. If you don't believe in yourself, your mind health, your chance at mind wealth is not possible. But that's not the way it was meant to be. You were born to win. Control over your mind, your thoughts. To have and be all you were meant to be. And that means believing 100% in who you really are. And that is the key to your mind health and your mind wealth, your happiness, your freedom, your success, your infinite peace and love towards everything and anything. It's possible. It's all because of you, your determination, united with all of our determination creates that oneness, that consciousness. Determination. And that's why I love you, determination, wherever you are. I miss you, I miss being in your presence, but here today, we united. We enjoyed this process fully. And the way we do or did this is the same way we can do anything, including being the best for all those around us, wherever we are right now. So keep going, determination. Keep working on controlling your mind. Because that's for all your health, mind health, your happiness, your freedom, all your love. They can never be taken away. I love you, everyone. Have a great week. Until the next time.
You think there is other intelligent life outside the Earth?
Some people think I'm an alien. Not true.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and like Elon Musk says,
I thought we would make a lot of mistakes, and if we're going to make a lot of mistakes, then it's best to make those mistakes at a small scale rather than at a large scale.
So let's help you make more mistakes and win with Elon Musk and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Need motivation?
Watch Untitled 10 with We Believe Nation.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Make room for mistakes.
The first 3 flights of the Falcon 1 failed, or rather, they certainly didn't get to orbit. The second and third flights arguably got to space, but they did not reach full orbital velocity. And then fortunately, the fourth flight worked. And if it hadn't, SpaceX wouldn't be around, because I'd basically run out of money. So that was a bit of a nail biter. And thank goodness. And in fact, this all happened in 2008. So yeah, there was really no ability to raise outside money in a meaningful way in 2008 because of the financial crisis. So you can imagine trying to go to raise money, saying, well, yes, we just had 4 failures and the world is in financial ruin, but would you like to give us some money? That would be a definite no. So fortunately that succeeded, and we were able to go from Falcon 1 to begin designing the Falcon 9, which is an order of magnitude larger vehicle. And in fact, has more than 20 times the payload. So it's got a payload to orbit of over 10 tons. And that actually has gone a lot better because we had the experience of Falcon 1 to go by. And part of the reason we started with Falcon 1 was because I thought we would make a lot of mistakes. And if we're going to make a lot of mistakes, then it's best to make those mistakes at a small scale rather than at a large scale. And that seems to have worked because going to Falcon 9, we've had 4 flights of Falcon 9, and they've all 4 of them have been successful. So I think that principle seems to have worked reasonably well. Touch wood in life. Flight 5 is coming up soon.
Rule number 2, have a compelling idea.
You mostly created new companies. What is your recipe for that?
What is my recipe?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's quite difficult to create a new company and have it be successful. And generally, I do not recommend creating new companies unless you feel very compelled to do so. Starting a new company and making it successful, like a friend of mine has a good thing for that, which is it's like eating glass and staring into the abyss. So that sounds like something you want to do, then start a company. So it's quite difficult. But I mean, the basics of starting a company are, you have to have an idea that is compelling, or you think that could be a product that could be very valuable to the world. And then you've got to find a lot of talented people and convince them to do this new thing, because talented people are already doing something. So you have to convince them to do the new thing. And that can be it's very hard to do that. And then you have to build the company up. And a company goes through a life cycle, like just a sort of like a human or like any animal. It starts off very simple, like one cell, then you get a few more cells, and then you get some organ differentiation, you start growing arms and legs, and you become like a baby, and then a toddler, a child and teenager, adults. The life cycle of a company is very much like that of a creature, and you have to reinvent the company at every stage. So this is why some companies get to be a large size and some do not. It's because you actually have to reconfigure the country at the various stages of its life cycle.
Rule number 3, take calculated risks.
Hi, are you looking for a way to achieve financial freedom to stay wherever you are?
How do you balance your capacity for risk, your risk tolerance, against your desire to continue to innovate?
I think that I was certainly facing the loss of all assets. I mean, technically I would have been negative because I would have been owing people money. But I figured I could always make enough to, or at least borrow enough to pay the rent and buy food and that kind of thing. So I didn't think we would starve or lack for shelter. Although it would have been sad to not to have lost all the assets gained from prior companies. But really the toughest decision was not whether to invest the money into Tesla. It was really that I had Tesla and SpaceX, and the tough decision was if I split the money between the two companies, then it's possible that both may still have died. And so I had to decide, would I dedicate funds to just one company and let the other one die for sure, or split the funds between the two companies? And that was the really difficult decision.
Rule number 4, embrace innovation.
I think in the future, people will look back and say, wow, I can't believe we had to drive these cars ourselves. It'll like self-driving cars will just be just a normal, like self-driving elevators. Elevators used to have elevator operators, and there's someone there with a big relay switch operating the elevator, and then every now and then they'd get tired or make a mistake and shear somebody in half. So now we made the elevators automatic, and you just go and you press the button, and you can be in a 100-story skyscraper and don't really worry about it. Just go in and press a button, and the elevator takes you where you want to go. But it used to be that all elevators were operated manually. And it'll be the same thing like for cars. All cars will be automatic. And then, and electric, obviously. So there will still be some gasoline cars and some manual cars, just like there are still some horses.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
I just aced another listing appointment. Come ride with me, I'll tell you all about it.
Rule number 5, expand the scope of consciousness.
If we just step away from our sort of internecine squabbles and say, let's look at the big picture here. what set of actions can we take that maximize the probability that the future is going to be good for civilization and for consciousness? And I think we should regard consciousness on Earth as delicate, not just fragile. And what sort of actions can we do to ensure that it continues and that the scope and scale of consciousness expands? And I'm in favor of expansion because, if we want to understand what the universe is about and what's the meaning of life, and we need to get out there and find out. And the more we expand the scope and scale of consciousness, the better we will be able to understand what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe.
Rule number 6, make something super good.
As a young man who's out there searching for himself, and as many in my generation are, we have jobs, not really careers, and we're searching, we're continuously facing unemployment. How do we convert the ideology of space, future, and energy, and how do we personalize it so that we ourselves can convert this energy into something meaningful? How do we get involved?
Okay, well, I think you could either work at a company in those arenas or say, okay, what's some important piece of the puzzle in rockets or cars or something, and then put together a group of people and figure out how to make that piece of the puzzle super good. And that's I think that's the way to do it.
Rule number 7, have a goal to serve.
You had a recent space. You sent up a bunch of civilians into space. You did not send yourself up.
No, I've not sent myself up. I suppose I will at some point. But my goal is not to send myself up. My goal is to open up space for humanity and ultimately set us on a path to becoming a spacefaring civilization and a multi-planet species.
Rule number 8, be opportunistic.
We also developed the Dragon spacecraft because somewhat opportunistically, NASA announced that they were going to retire the space shuttle, and they didn't have the budget to develop a cargo transport capability to the space station via the normal large government way, and so they put it out to bid to commercial industry for the first time in NASA history. It was quite a big step, and we were lucky enough to win one of those contracts, and then the other company wasn't able to execute, and so they got cut, and so we ended up being the primary means of transporting cargo to and from the space station.
Rule number 9, gather experts.
What lessons have you learned from Silicon Valley that could apply here in small town America?
Well, the most important thing is people. So you need to gather together a group of engineers, essentially, to create technology. And that's what engineers do. They create technology. But you have to have a critical mass of such people that's equal to the task that you attempt to complete. So that's the most important thing, a critical mass of people.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is develop new technologies.
You have a product you're passionate about, and now's the time to grow your online sales. Klaviyo can help.
The technology is expensive at first. You can't just, when you try to develop brand new technology, it doesn't instantly become cheap and affordable. And think of like cell phones, and the early cell phones were really expensive and sucked, frankly. You think of like Wall Street 1, where, he's walking down the beach with the shoebox-sized cell phone on it, talking to just, so just like really expensive, and the tech wasn't that great. But if some number of people didn't pay for the expensive cell phones, there would not be the inexpensive cell phones that everyone can afford.
So we should thank billionaires for going into space.
It doesn't have to be top of your thank you list, but it's not. I'm just saying that when there's new technology, it is necessarily expensive until you can refine the design and you can scale things up, and then you can make it more affordable. There's a common misconception that there's some new technology, especially if it's a physical object, that you can just suddenly make it cheap and available, but you have to have many design iterations, and you got to scale up the production and get economies of scale. Like we had this argument against Tesla for a long time, because people would say like, well, why are you building this Tesla Roadster back in the day? It's basically, it's an expensive toy sports car for rich people. And we're like, yes, it is, but there's no way we could build an affordable electric car as our first car. We just didn't have the capital, we didn't have the experience, and we needed to go through several technology iterations in order to get to something like the Model 3.
Right.
I actually wrote a blog about this because I knew people would be like, why are you making sports cars for rich people, as though we thought there was somehow a shortage of sports cars for rich people. We're obviously not. But you just gotta figure out the technology. You gotta go through multiple design. Like how do you make something mass market and affordable? Many design iterations, many different versions of the technology, a lot of hard work, and then you've got to scale up the production rate so you get economies of scale. And those two things are what make any given technology available to the public. And basically every technology that we take for granted today has gone through that evolution. The really major breakthrough that's needed in rocketry, the pivotal one, which we're aspiring to make, is to have a fully and rapidly reusable rocket. This has not been achieved before. The space shuttle was an attempt to achieve that, but it was not a successful attempt, unfortunately. The main tank of the space shuttle was thrown away every time, which was also the primary ascent aeroframe. Even the parts that were reusable were so difficult to reuse for the space shuttle that it ended up costing 4 times more than an expendable rocket of equivalent payload capability. It was the right goal, but didn't hit the target. And I think this is actually incredibly important. I think it may not be completely intuitive, but I think perhaps if one refers to other modes of transport, it makes more sense. Because all other modes of transport are fully and rapidly reusable. And that applies to a bicycle, a horse, plane, ships. In fact, in sort of normal life, it would be quite silly to discard your horse after every ride, or dump the plane after you flew it. The cost of a 747 is about $300 million, and you'd need 2 of those to do a round trip from Los Angeles to London. But I don't think anyone has paid $500 million to do that. So, and nor would one want to. I mean, there'd be a lot of travel by boat and train and that sort of thing if that was the true cost. So it's extremely important in rocketry to achieve full and rapid reusability. This is not an easy thing to do because of Earth's gravity well and just the basic physics of things. So there have been many attempts to create a reusable rocket, but they've generally, they've all sort of been cancelled along the way once people realized that they would not succeed.
You want to make something beautiful. I mean, you want to trigger whatever fundamental aesthetic algorithms are like in your brain. You have, I think, some intrinsic elements that represent beauty, and that trigger the emotion of appreciation of beauty in your mind. And I think that these are actually relatively consistent among people. I mean, not completely. Some people not everyone likes the same thing, but there's a lot of commonality. It is important to combine aesthetic design with functionality. Like the thing that's, like if you say like what was really hard about, say, the Model S or the Model X, was to combine aesthetics and utility. So to balance the two. You can make a car look very good by giving it sort of certain proportions, like making it sort of low and slim, but if you do that, the utility is significantly affected. To make a sports car look good is relatively easy, but to make a sedan look good or an SUV look good is quite difficult. Really pay attention to the little details. The the nuances of design and shape and form and function, and just the way it looks in different lights. And
when something's off, the little thing, how do you experience that?
It drives me bananas. Yeah. I mean, the problem is, like, if you can train yourself to pay attention to the tiny details. I think almost anyone can. Although this is a very much a double-edged sword, because then you see all the little details, and then little things drive you crazy. But like most people they don't consciously see the small details, but they do subconsciously see them. Like you sort of, your mind takes in a gestalt of the overall, an overall impression, and you know if something is appealing or not, even though you may not be able to point out exactly why. And it's a summation of these many small details.
So most of us experience it as oh, I think that's ugly, or I think that's beautiful, or like, wow, that's elegant, but you can't break it down. You mentioned something in passing, like you can train yourself in this, though?
Yeah, you can train yourself, I think. You can make yourself pay attention to why. You essentially bring the subconscious awareness into conscious awareness.
God, I wish I could do that. How do you do that?
just pay really close attention.
Almost like a meditation on the object, and trying to find the details. Like, why do I not like this? Is that what?
Yeah, just look closely and carefully.
The physics training is a very good training, where it's a good framework for reasoning, where you're trained to think about first principles and reason from there. And that means boiling things down to the most fundamental truths, and then connecting those truths in a way to try to understand how reality is. Because physics has this problem where they're trying to figure out things that are totally counterintuitive. And so they had to have a framework for getting there. Like quantum mechanics is incredibly counterintuitive, but it's true. And so so physics developed a framework for figuring out things that aren't obvious. And that's why I think it's a lot of advice, but it's the right framework. If you think about the future, you want a future that's better than the past. And so if we had something like the Hyperloop, I think that would be like cool. Like you'd look forward to the day that was working, And if something like that, even if it only was in one place, from LA to San Francisco or New York to DC or something like that, then it would be cool enough that it would be like a tourist attraction. It would be like a ride or something. So even if some of the initial assumptions didn't work out and the economics didn't work out quite as one expected, it would be like cool enough to be like, I want to journey that place just to ride on that thing. That would be pretty cool. Wow.
And so that's, I think, how, if you come up with a new technology, it should feel like that. You should really, like, if you told it to an objective person, would they look forward to the day that thing became available? And be like, it'd be pretty exciting to do something like that. Or an aircraft. Like, I thought it was really disappointing when the Concorde was taken out of commission and there was no supersonic transport available. And of course, the 787 has had some issues. But the thing is, the 787, even in the best case scenario, is only a slightly better version of the 777. And it's like, okay, not that exciting.
You want to take a moment to appreciate things in life and the sensations. Food's incredible. And there's just so many good things that you can experience. Some of them cost nothing, really. Have a walk in nature or just a nice meal, and it's like, wow, that's pretty great, And we should take a moment to appreciate these little things, the big things, the things that move your heart. I think that's probably the meaning of life, as close a definition as I can think. Just in general, critical thinking is good. Examining whether you have the correct axioms, are the most applicable axioms, does the logic necessarily connect, and then what are the range of probable outcomes? Outcomes are usually not deterministic; they're a range, and so you want to figure out what those probabilities are, and make sure, ideally, that you're the house. It's fine to take. It's fine to gamble as long as you're the house.
Everyone needs to go, try to solve like some big world-changing problem. I mean, I think that, like, I really think like we should just think like, are we doing something that's useful to the world? Like, if you're doing something useful, that's great. Just sort of a usefulness optimization is like, that's like a really good thing. You know, if you've done something that's useful to your fellow human beings, you've done a really good thing, and people should feel proud of doing that. You know, it doesn't always have to be something that's going to change the world. I mean, sometimes the world should just keep going in a particular direction.
Help the world.
Yeah, it might be going in the right direction, and I mean, in a lot of ways, the world is, and we are in great shape. In that, if you look at, say, violent crimes, you know, per capita in the world, it's at an like all-time low. We're actually quite prosperous, and you know, compared to history, and you know, I think there's a lot of things to feel good about in terms of how the world is today. Access to information is incredible. I mean, you know, anyone with like a $100 device has access to basically all the world's information, which is an incredible thing. Yeah, so I honestly, I just think like the best thing for people to try to do is say like, hey, what is something that I can do that would really be useful to the world, and just do that, you know, and it's great.
First of all, my goal is not disruption for the sake of disruption. I really think there's some important things we have to solve in order for the future to be good. I would say like my sort of algorithm or optimization is like, okay, what set of things do we need to do to ensure that increase the probability that the future is going to be good. And so if we have to solve sustainable energy, this is tautological. If we do not solve sustainable energy, then we have unsustainable energy. Then it's just a matter of time before before civilization collapses. We must, but even if there was not an environmental issue, since the availability of oil is limited, this is not something we can sustain long term. My original interest in electric vehicles was actually not environmental. It was out of concern, just studying physics, and I'm like, wait a second, we need to transition to solar electric, or we're going to have a problem, and we run out of oil, civilization collapses. That's a problem. Now, of course, the environmental concerns have added to the urgency, because the more CO2 we put in the oceans and atmosphere, the more we increase the probability that something will go wrong. Like I said, like things are much more probability as opposed to certainty. But I think it's an unwise experiment to dramatically increase the CO2 in the atmosphere and oceans. Given that we know we need to transition anyway because we'll run out of oil. So why run that experiment? It's not. It doesn't make any sense. We know we have to transition to a sustainable energy economy. Then let's just get on with it. Let's just get on with it and not run the crazy experiment and see what happens if the atmosphere has 2,000 ppm CO2. This is crazy.
I wanted to spur ideas and thinking about the long-term need to capture carbon. I think this is one of those things that's going to take a while to figure out what the right solution is. And especially to figure out what the best economics are for CO2 removal. And all think through all the consequences. You don't want the cure to be worse than the disease. Sometimes people say, "Well, just plant a bunch of trees." I'm like, that's not so easy. Like
a trillion trees.
Sure, exactly. And then you got to okay, well, you need to get fertilizer. You're going to water them. Where's the water going to come from? What habitat are you potentially destroying where the trees used to be? It's not just it's a no-brainer of just go plant a bunch of trees.
But it's not to say that's not a good viable option.
We should plant some trees. I'm in favor of planting trees. It's just not a question of there are like vast sections of like the Sahara Desert or some large barren areas, very dry areas in the U.S. Where you could in theory plant a lot of trees, but you're going to need a lot of water. And you're going to need you're going to have to cultivate them. It's not like they don't just throw some seeds on the ground.
We'll drop them from orbit.
And I mean, so just I think it'd be good to sort of kind of frame the debate and understand, okay, what things are really going to move the needle, how much are they going to move the needle. If we're talking about getting tens or hundreds of billions of tons of carbon, in what form will that carbon be?
Yeah.
Will it be stable over time? And like I said, what is it going to cost humanity to do? However it's paid for, what is it going to cost? What's the thing that's going to be most affordable?
Look for evidence of exceptional ability. So it's not, or at least aspirationally, like sometimes these things get messed up in recruiting, or the recruiting filter ends up being wrong. Like I sometimes wonder with Tesla, if Nikola Tesla applied to Tesla, would we even give him an interview? It's not clear. This guy came from like some weird college somewhere in Eastern Europe. He's got some odd mannerisms. Now, we don't know if we should give him an interview. Like, I worry that that's actually what we do instead of like, it should be like, man, Nikola Tesla, this kid's super smart. What does he want? We'll pay him anything. That should be that should be the reaction if Nikola Tesla applies, to Tesla, ironically. But I can tell you the intent is we're looking for evidence of exceptional ability, and it really doesn't matter if you went to graduate high school or college or anything. We're just looking for evidence of exceptional ability, such that it would be a good predictor for doing exceptional things to SpaceX.
Fully considered cost actually just means that if there are, you want to look at both the benefits and the cost actually. So if in sequestering carbon or removing it from the atmosphere or oceans has some perhaps some environmental impact, which might be small, but it's not negative. Mm-hmm. That certainly needs to be taken into account. And then by the same token, if what's done is in extracting carbon is a useful product, sure, from which you can generate revenue, then that should count too. All right. So I don't know, I'm just sort of saying for argument's sake, like let's say you could create, construction material, like
cement.
Cement.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'll talk about that later.
Or some kind of useful rocks, mm-hmm, that are useful, or sand, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Something that's useful for construction. Then you could say, okay, well, this is what we could sell it for, and and then just fully consider pros and cons, and say, okay, this is what, if we need to pay to have it done in the future, which we probably will have to do, then what's the lowest net cost?
I don't really like risk for risk's sake or anything. And I do think that a lot of things are very risky with a low chance of success. But if you want to try to come up with an innovative breakthrough, that's going to be how it is. Anything which is significantly innovative is going to come with a significant risk of failure. But if you've got to take big chances in order for the potential for a big positive outcome. If the outcome is exciting enough, then taking a big risk is worthwhile. Yeah. That's really how I approach it. But then once executing down a path, I actually do my absolute best to reduce risk. Because. Or to improve another way of saying it, to improve the probability of success, because when you try to do something that is very, very risky, that you have to spend a lot of effort trying to reduce that risk as you embark down that path. I mean, when I started SpaceX, I thought the odds of success were very low. I thought we'd most likely fail.
I think in general, if you want to